So much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. I'm afraid I have some bad news. We start off with the death toll from the Nithi River tragedy that has risen to 34 as search for 5 missing passengers entered the second day. But even as the multi-agency team continued with the operation to pull the wreckage of the ill-fated Modern Coast bus from the river, the National Transport and Safety Authority, that's NTSA, has halted the company's operations indefinitely pending investigations into the incident. Safi Godana Mamo has more.
The wreckage of the ill-fated bus remained 40 meters down the river as search and rescue mission resumed Monday. Luggage of the 40 passengers littered all over as the multi-agency team combed through the wreckage to look for bodies that could have been trapped. The bus manifest indicates that 45-seater bus had only 5 unoccupied seats at the time of the accident. According to Tharaka Nithi Base Commander Philip Ekakoro, the bus was heading to Mombasa from Meru when it hit an oncoming car before its driver lost control and hit the wall guarding Nithi Bridge and eventually the guardrails and rolled down into the river.
Looking at the manifest, the bus had 45 passengers. Tumeweza kupata kwa count kwa watu 42, bado tunaendelea kutafuta wale watatu.
Subsequently, a multi-agency investigation has been launched into the crash, which includes an evaluation of Modern Coast Bus Company's safety operational standards. In the meantime, 31 buses operated by the company have all been grounded to establish their operational safety, even as families of the passengers jumped company offices in Chuka and Chogoria hospitals in Tharaka Nithi in search of their loved ones.
The process of tracing and informing the families of the victims will be done through in conjunction with Kenya Red Cross Society and the County Commissioner's Office.
Residents of Tharaka Nithi are now calling on the government to relook at the design of the bridge, even as the neighboring Meru County government pledged to cater for hospital and funeral expenses.
This will include support for the burial of those who have lost their lives, and also we need support medical treatment of those who are undergoing treatment both at Chuka and Chogoria Hospital.
The Sunday incident is not the first to happen at the Nithi Bridge, which for a long time has been known to be a major black spot on the Meru-Nairobi highway. 158 people have perished at the Nithi Bridge in a period of 5 years. In August 2000, tragedy befell Tharaka Nithi after 45 people were killed and 27 injured after a passenger bus plunged into the same river. The Tofik bus was also traveling from Maua to Mombasa. In 1998, 56 people aboard a stagecoach bus were killed. In 2021, 5 people lost their lives while 4 others were injured at the same spot after a truck collided with a matatu. The latest road tragedy brings to 2,696 the number of people who have lost their lives this year in road accidents. This is 8.3% higher compared to the same period last year. In the meantime, the management of Direct Line Insurance have sent a message of condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones and quick recovery to those injured. Safi Godana Mamo, Citizen TV.
Now, the management of the Modern Coast bus is facing criticism over failing to act on the ill-fated bus driver's complaints over faulty brakes on the bus. The deceased driver, the late Paul Kamau Simba, is said to have complained to his wife that the bus he was driving had faulty brakes for about 2 weeks, but the management did not act. Paul's widow also says that the company had been overworking the drivers without pay. Brenda Wanga has the details.
When the Mombasa-bound Modern Coast bus plunged into the Nithi River, it claimed the lives of over 30 people, amongst them the driver and conductor of the bus. In Mombasa, the family of the driver, Paul Kimani Simba, seek confirmation of the devastating news from his workplace.
Ndio tuliondoka tukaenda usiku kwa hiyo kampuni, tukakuta mabasi chaondoka ya saa 4 mwisho na wamefunga. Hivi leo tumelauka hapa kwa ofisi yao kwa workshop yao mahali magari zinakuja, tukapata habari kwamba ndugu yetu ndio aliweza kufariki katika hiyo ajali wakiwa pamoja na taniboi.
His family, however, says Peter's death and those of the passengers could have been avoided had the company, Modern Coast Bus, heeded to the deceased repeated complaints.
Gari imeharibika, haitengenezwi, analia breki wiki mbili, hawatengenezi gari mpaka sasa ikamumaliza siku ya jana.
Lakini ni kama kampuni haikuchukulia hiyo kitu maanani. Maanake gari ilikuwa inakuja inafanywa service na hawasimami. Akifika asubuhi, jioni wanapiga return, wanarudi. Nafikiri gari haikuweza kushughulikiwa vizuri, na ndio kusudi jana ikaweza kupoteza brake na kuteremka mpaka kwa mto.
The family says Paul was an experienced senior driver with over 30 years on the road. He was also the sole breadwinner for his wife and 2 children. The family, however, says the deceased had not received a salary for months from his employers.
Kutoka hiyo mwezi wa pili vile alirudi kazi mwezi wa pili mpaka saa hii hajawahi pokea mshahara. Ukimuuliza kama analipwa anasema tu anapatiwa tu allowance 1,000 basi.
In Meru, just kilometers from the black spot, a family struggles to process the death of their kin, coming just a day after the burial of another.
Sisi tuko na huzuni kifamilia kwa sababu tulikuwa tumekuja kwa sababu ya matanga ya my uncle. And Brand Mwirigi ndio tulikuwa na matanga on Friday.
Jen Karambu was a passenger number 18 on the ill-fated bus and was meant to have traveled with her children back to Mombasa after the funeral.
Mtoto wake alitangulia, akasema atakutana Mombasa. Sasa my aunt akasema yeye wacha aende direct. So ndio tukapata habari.
Now this family is back to planning another funeral alongside the families of the over 30 people who lost their lives at the notorious black spot. The other families are awaiting the identification and release of their kin's bodies for burial and funeral arrangements, while some of the Muslim faith have already started burying their dead. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.